Ever done some service and it wasn't anything special and you were kind of not so happy? Has that ever happened to you? Like you go on book distribution all day and distribute like 2 books, and the devotee next to you distributes like 4,000, and you're not really happy about that, right? You kind of don't like that devotee anymore, you know? Prabhu, I hate you. You ever have that experience? And so what we're doing is we're evaluating the value of our service based on something external. And so if you did that with Srila Prabhupada in 1965, he didn't really have a lot to show. He had the Bhagavatams, he had 1 disciple, and he had 3 books. And he had some Bhakti-guided magazines. No movement. He tried to start a temple in Jhansi, and it didn't happen. So if you were to analyze, this doesn't look like world acharya, does it? But Prabhupada said, it's not a question of what you do, it's a question of how much you try. And Prabhupada said, Krishna, even if you don't do well or you fail, Krishna sees that you tried. So I think that's really important, right? Because sometimes you're going to try to chant good rounds and you're going to do like everything that we learn in this workshop, and you can read every book on japa and do everything, but some days it's not going to click well. It's just, you're not going to really be able to do it. But if you try, that's your perfection. That Krishna sees that. And sometimes the only thing we can do is try. We have I want to do something great, but maybe I can't. I can just try to do what I can do. And there's a beautiful story. Would you like to hear a beautiful story? This is one of the most beautiful stories that I've ever heard about Srila Prabhupada. Are you interested? Nitai Gaura Chandra ki jai ho. There was a devotee who was having difficulty. And sometimes what happens for a devotee is they're steady for some time and then they fall. Give in to something, whatever. Could be something big, could be something small, but some deviation. And then they get themselves back up, and then they're steady for some time, and then they fall. I'm not saying that this happens to a lot of devotees, but it's not uncommon. And so Prabhupada received a letter from a devotee, and he was describing that he was doing well for a few months, but then he would slip. I don't know what he was falling into. But we can understand he was either not chanting his rounds or breaking a principle or both. But then he'd get back up and be steady. And Prabhupada had one of his disciples read the letter. And you know what Prabhupada's comment was? Because every time he fell, he would get back up and try. And you might think, when Prabhupada heard the letter, you might think Prabhupada was just like, what's the use? I reject you. Why even try? You could think that could be a possible response, right? Like, what's wrong with him? He's not sincere, etc., etc. You know what Prabhupada said? He glorified that devotee and he said, just see how much he's trying. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Just see how much he's trying. I bet some of you in your mind are thinking Prabhupada was going to chastise him or reject him. Yes? Or be heavy with him or criticize him. Just see how he's trying. And so Prabhupada said, if you try and you fail, Krishna doesn't see the failure. He sees how much time you spent trying. I mean, it's not an excuse to not do our service well. But in a particular situation, you're doing your best and it doesn't always come out the best. Prabhupada said, Krishna sees how much time you spent. Isn't that beautiful? Now, For us, in our society today, our society conditions us to evaluate our success based on external, what do you call that? Metrics, yeah. Isn't it? How many did you sell? Let's see, right? What did you contribute? How many hours? What did you produce? What's the label on your purse? What's the label on your shoes? What car do you drive? What's the position you have in the company? What's your neighborhood? And so we're constantly being evaluated, isn't it? Right? In some sections of society, like if you don't have high-end labels on everything, some people won't even talk to you, right? Yes? Yeah, I've been told that. So that has an effect on us, because when we're being judged by that, we start to judge ourselves that way also. And here's the problem, and this is a big problem, so please listen. We are judging ourselves based on our external success, and Krishna's judging ourselves based on our effort. And so if I think I have to do something to impress Krishna, then I'm misunderstanding what impresses him. And I'm coming from a material conditioning thinking everyone is impressed by producing a result. Krishna also would be impressed by producing a result. So I'm misunderstanding Krishna, thinking he's like everybody else. Does that make sense to you? And so we project our conditioning on Krishna, thinking he's like everyone else, and I can buy him, so to speak. I'll distribute 1,000 Gitas, and it's like I don't have to chant my rounds tomorrow because Krishna loves me for that. Or I distribute 2 and I'm a failure. We have to see Krishna consciousness through the eyes of Krishna, not through our own eyes projecting what we think Krishna likes and doesn't like. Because if we do that, then we misunderstand Krishna. And not only do we misunderstand Krishna, but we put on Krishna qualities and emotions that he doesn't have. And that's unfair to him and unfair to ourselves. Yes? Did you understand what I said? It's pretty simple, right? It's like if I make a judgment about Kanai Thakur, how he feels about me, which is not how he feels about me, because I just have some problem and I think he sees my problem and he's judging me or whatever, but he's not. That's very unfair to him, isn't it? Right? I have to see how he sees me through how he sees me, not how I think he sees me. And if I think he's seeing me in a negative way and he's seeing me in a positive way, that's very wrong, it's very unkind, it's judgmental, even offensive. Yes? And we do the same thing with Krishna. Oh, Krishna doesn't like me. Why? Because I didn't do 1,000 Bhagavad Gitas. Because Krishna doesn't like me. Why? Because I came to Mangal Artik at 4:30 and 1 second, and the conch shell already blew and I wasn't in the temple. It's like, okay. Why would you think that way about Krishna? You think he's that bad, And so we made this point about how Krishna sees the effort, and your effort to chant well is really more important in a sense than chanting well. Because you can't always chant well all the time, even though you try. But if you try, you should be satisfied that I'm trying my best. Some devotees are not satisfied with trying their best. They're like depressed, they're discouraged, they beat themselves up. I can't think of anything worse you could do to yourself than beat yourself up for trying your best because you don't think your best is good enough. But you can't do any better. It's not possible. Today, at this stage of your devotional service, you're trying your best and you can't do any better than that, but you're telling yourself your best isn't good enough and you're depressed. That's really bad, don't you think? Especially in the light of the fact that Krishna may be actually happy with it.